Hey guys, this is Eric Weingartner with Weingartner Racing, and one girl that watches, I should say, but maybe two. But anyway, it's Saturday, so it's an update video day. I don't know, kind of wonder why I'm doing this. Not very many people even watch these things, but I do have a question to answer because a viewer had wrote in a question. For those that don't know, last week I said if there's an email that's written in and it's something that they're not going to buy from me, I'll pick one and I'll just write in. You know, oddly enough, there was only one that even came in that wasn't related to business that actually asked a question. So that one will get answered. It'll be in this video. A lot happened this week. So we'll start off with this. On Thursday, I went back on the dyno and dyno tested a 468 big block Chevy. It's actually slightly bigger. It's because it's got a 4350 bore. Stock crank and rods. That's going to be the video on Monday. But if you want to see the dyno sheets, because there's not very many, it's only be like 4. If you're a channel member, just email me and I will send them to you for free. But if you're not a channel member, you want to know how to be a channel member, you go to my online store and you pay for it. But if you're not a channel member, I'm only charging $5 because it's only 4 sheets. And I'll just email them to you, or if you want them text, just put that in the notes or whatever, because there's only 4 sheets. But it is pretty cool. So if you want to see those numbers or whatever. But anyway, like I said, $5. But that was a pretty neat deal. But while I was at the dyno, I scheduled another dyno session for next Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm going to dyno test if you remember the 496 that I did with Dominic, we've kind of settled some differences or whatnot, but we're going to dyno that 496. We're going to use those Trip Flow 280 heads. So yeah, we're not like the other, I should say, I am definitely not like the other channels where they keep putting off like, oh, we're going to do this, and it never gets done, or 5 months or 8 months later. Now, told you Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to happen next Thursday. We're going to dyno it. We'll see how it compares to the others. Should be pretty good. So there's that. But here's the other thing. See the car shirts? If you can also buy from my website, not trying to sell you stuff. It's because check this out. I woke up early this morning. Instead of working out, probably should have for my health, but instead I decided to work on his car. It now has the engine and transmission in it, so I feel like we're getting somewhere now. At least that's something, so good news there. So pretty excited for this. Still got a long ways to go. I'm kind of wondering if it needs custom headers. Although, if you look at it, I was checking it out, the stock motor mount would be there, and it's still in line with that. So maybe the headers that I bought for it would work, but I guess we'll find out when it fits in. But yeah, I'm happy to get that in there. The transmission's in there. I actually thought I broke it when I put it together because I put it together outside of the car. And I thought I had the torque converter slide in there kind of cockeyed, but I didn't because I could keep rotating it. So, and then I took it apart one time and put it back together and everything's fine. So that's good. So at least it is. We'll find out how it works and stuff. But yeah, that's in there. So progress finally being made. So good news there. And let's go to the question. So a viewer, thank you for watching my channel, and sent in a question. His question was, I'm getting ready to start a cylinder head shop. What machines do I need to get started? I'll say this is probably the most topic I could talk about for long periods of time. So all of them besides cylinder head stuff would be machines that you need and things to avoid. It's excuse me, it's very important to keep this in mind because this stuff costs a fortune. So this may make the video go long, but I'll explain. So if you're a cylinder head shop, here's the thing you're gonna need. First off, seat guide machine. Now, I had a Rottler, and Rottler now only makes the SG9, which is a big one. But by the way, that Rottler one is made by those guys. The only difference is Rottler puts on their own electronics and stuff. And I have to say, Rottler used to be, it really depends on who you are. So this is gonna give you a little bit more information you probably wanted to know. Rottler has sales reps per area. So part of the United States has a certain one, and every area has, well, not every area has a different sales rep. So depending on who your sales rep is, you could get a good one or a bad one. For instance, I would love if John Jameson was my Rottler rep, because he is amazing. When I bought my flow bench, the signs over here, and he actually bought my old Rottler. So nice guy to deal with, a super professional, love dealing with business with them. So if you're wanting to get equipment in that area, you're great. The problem is I live in Oklahoma, and that is not my Rottler rep. And the Rottler rep here, I don't want to bash people, but I promise Rottler this: if you had a different rep, you would sell 4 times more equipment in this area if you had a different one, because the rep makes or breaks you. So here's what I mean. So if you buy a piece of equipment, the rep is who you're really going to deal with. So for instance, this Robbins I bought from a guy named Jeff Hopper. Great guy to deal with also, like amazing. Like his customer support really is fantastic. So when you're buying a machine, really you need to think about the customer support because it's guaranteed at some point it's going to break down and those guys are the ones that are going to help you. So if you've got a good customer rep, they know that every day that machine is down, you are not making any money. So they work, good reps make it their priority to get the thing fixed properly. And not only that, because this has been a nightmare story too. I've heard of this from several, especially with Rottler, hint, hint. They will buy a piece of equipment and their rep won't come to install it for months or set it up. You're like, why don't you just do it? This is important to know. When you get a machine, a brand new machine, they have a warranty, but the warranty, if you hook it up first, you just voided your warranty. So you have to wait for the actual Rottler rep to set it up. Otherwise, you don't have a warranty. And by the way, the warranties on all of the equipment you buy suck balls because this machine right here is $40,000. You guess how long the warranty is? 1 year. If you bought say a new car and it costs $40,000, you get at least 3 years. 1 year. And it just sucks. So Rottler's is 1 year. And here's the other thing that goes with it. When you have that warranty, if the person, your rep, delays coming out, it's going by the time. So if you call them up, say you're 4 months into your warranty, you call them up and say, hey man, this isn't working and I really need to get this fixed. 3 months later, he comes out and it's maybe fixed, but then it breaks a week later, then another 3 months goes by. You can end up expiring your warranty and then have to pay for the costly repair. So what I'm trying to get at through the whole long process is make sure the company you're dealing with is great. As far as machines, I like the Robbins. I truly do. Jeff Hopper makes it great to work with. Now, is this thing perfect? No. I think right now, I keep track, so I've had this almost a year. I think there's something like, this is how many valve jobs has been done. I could tally it up, but I think it's around 60. These are the number that had problems, like they were hard or a challenge to cut. Eventually they got them right, but they were a challenge. So it makes 11, I think, out of 70. So you're like, well, that's a high percent. Some of those are because those, for instance, those ProMax heads are just impossible to cut. The LS3 ones with the copper seat, because I think it's the seat material, nothing with the machine. But we'll find out. So anyway, love the Robbins. So the Robin machine, great. There are no perfect machines out there. I'll say this, why didn't you get a 30? Because people ask for that one too. The worst valve jobs that have ever come through the shop have been cut on a 30. That's why I never was looking into a 30. That doesn't mean that all are bad because so many people use them and have had very good luck. But some of them, I don't even know how it even got off the machine to be that far off, but usually they're cut on a 30. Not that 30s are bad, but the worst ones I've seen for that. So that spooked me. And also 30 is a French company, even though they got a company base in America. It takes like 4 months for me to get just the inserts. So I'm like, I don't know how well you'd be on their customer support. So that's why I didn't do that one. If you're really into old machines, you can get like a VGS 20, which is a Sunnen. Those are fantastic. The problem is they haven't made them in years. Sunnen, that's a moron move on your part, by the way, because those were everywhere. You could have done an updated one and kept selling them like hotcakes, but whatever. The problem with getting that Sunnen is there's no more replacement parts. So if it breaks, there is no customer support for one. If it breaks, you probably can't get the parts either. So the Robbins is what I chose. Here's what I would say for getting a machine. Even though they're expensive, you're like the next step up might be just a little bit more expensive. If you ever see yourself going that way, do it. You might regret the payment, but you'll be happier in the long run. That's one machine you have to have. Next one has to do with valve. Oh, that's the other thing. Don't forget when you're buying the machine, it's only the cost of the machine. It does never include the tooling. So this shit here, and I'm sorry I cussed, it adds up fast. One of these ball holders is like $560, so that's $2,000 right there. These ones are about the same, so there's another $1,000. The pilots, each one of $300. It'll add up quick. Now, there's a couple tools I don't even do for this. So, for instance, you guys may not know this, I don't cut valve seats out. I don't install valve seats. You're like, what do you mean? I'll do a valve job, but I'm not removing seats and putting them in. The reason why, because it takes a special tooling, although I bought this and never used it, but there's a different holder to cut out the seats, although you could take them out, or to cut the bores. I just don't want to do it. I just so rarely even do it, so why invest in the tooling on something I don't do? So I'd say this. There's probably going to be stuff you don't want to do. outsource it to someone reliable. However, there's a catch with that because currently, right now, I have 2 things outsourced that are taking forever because I don't do it. So that's a bad part. So, by the way, Dale, I'm sorry. Sorry, dude. Anyway, that's for that. The next thing you'll need is a valve grinder. This is, and I have 2 of them. This is probably the one you should get. This is easy choice, quick way. Get this one. Again, you can get this from Jameson, and he's great to deal with as well. These actually have a 2-year warranty, which is pretty rare. This machine, I think, was like right around 10 grand, 12 grand maybe. I don't remember. I just bought it a year ago too, which is sad. But 10 or 12 grand, worth it. Works great, fantastic. By the way, that was 40. So anyway, great machine. However, I still love my Sue. I have the Sue valve refacer. I've paid $600 for this. Now I did upgrade it, so if you get one, get the AccuChuck. You can get this from Lacey Peterson, or that's that girl that died. I don't remember. Something. It's called an AccuChuck. Google it, buy it. That's was $1,500. I'm sure it's more expensive now. You have to have that if you're gonna make these work right. But it does work great. The only thing I didn't like about it is when I go to reface the stone, it would take quite a while before it get perfect again. So, and it could have just been the diamond, even though because I changed that. It's just tricky, is what I'm trying to say. But this machine cut, I don't know how many valves. If you want to know if your valve machine's worth the damn, cussed again, sorry. Put a valve in it, cut your, reface it, take it out, spin it, put it back in and see how many thousands it takes or how much movement it takes before it comes back in again. That's a good indication. Now it's going to be like exactly 0 on, no, because if your stem's out of round, that's actually what's locating it. It won't matter. You're still going to have some play. I would say shoot for like less than 1 when you do that. If it's in the 3 and 4 range, pass. You need an AccuChuck. The next piece of equipment you're going to need is the mill. Now this is a Rottler. Remember I told you about Rottler Rep? Because this one, talk about warranty deal, this was 40 grand, by the way. And I don't know how much it is now. This was bought like 7 years ago. This was an interesting story. 11 months or 13 months. So it had 13 months, 1 month out of warranty. 1 month. The machine had crashed. What I mean to happen is, this is a CNC one. So what it does is it will cut automatically. So I don't have to stand here, tell it to go another thou, go another thou, go another thou. It will do it on its own. So I can tell it to go 20, but do it in 3,000 increments and it'll do it. That's what I like about the machine. At the time, I think they were the only ones doing that. I think other companies now do this. But anyway, what happened was there's a motor that's back up in here and there's a collar on it. And what happened, the machine went to start, goes over, and it's cutting. And all of a sudden, the part that holds that head from going up and down failed. And it just literally, boom, right into it and arrow coded it. Sunk into the head. Lucky it didn't flick the head out. It ruined the head, though. The puck went all the way across and dug probably an 1/8 of an inch into it. Yeah. So I'm calling them up because I'm like, you just ruined the head for me. But they're like, well, you're 1 month out of warranty. Sorry, buddy. And by the way, getting a hold of them, very impossible. And then so then getting someone out there, like, again, the rep thing, couldn't come out for like 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 weeks. And like I said, every time this machine or a machine's down, you're losing money. So, and there's jobs just not getting done. So you got people griping at you. So I couldn't get my rep out. So I don't want to know how to work on these machines. I prefer someone else worked on the machines, especially when you paid 40 grand. So I ended up having to figure it out what had happened from the factory. I ended up buying a whole new motor, which Rottler has something I want to tell you guys. It's called a Rottler tax. Any part you buy from Rottler, it's insanely high from what you could get anywhere else. I found that out on the motor. So I thought it was the motor because it had chewed up the splines on the top there, or not the splines, but the shaft. And I found one on Amazon with same part number, and it was the exact same one, came from Germany. It wasn't a Chinese one or wherever it came from, but it was a legit one. And it was $569. Rottler charged me $1,200. No shit. And this is 1 month out of warranty. So anyway, that wasn't even what it had done. What had they done? There's a collar that holds onto everything. It's hard to describe unless I took it apart. It was loose from the factory. That's why it would slide. And I kept wondering, I thought, man, that's kind of weird because sometimes it would jerk coming up. Yeah, it was because it was grabbing and letting go because they didn't have it tight from the factory. Shouldn't manufacture error, but somehow I have to pay for that. Ended up chewing up the shaft on the motor, so I replaced that and fixed it all myself. And then I had to get a hold of the rep guys to get the software, to figure out the software part to get it to communicate right with it. Days. I mean, sucked. And by the way, don't forget, their tech at Rottler So if you need to talk to someone, their tech closes like 2 o'clock Central Time. Like they don't even have normal hours. It's not like 8 to 5 Seattle time for their tech. No, it's like 9 to 2 or something. It's something ridiculous. At least it was whenever I was doing it. That's why I was like, oh man, that's why you need a good rep. But anyway, 40 grand. The tooling on this isn't so bad because the only thing you're really buying is just the insert. The last thing you need is some kind of Bridgeport machine. Mine's a little janky. It's just this little bitty dude. Because all I really do with this, and it is not precise at all, I just use this to cut out manifolds when I'm cutting out the clover leaf or some other silly stuff that doesn't have to be precise. In fairness and real truth, you need a Bridgeport, a good Bridgeport. I wish I had one. I'm kind of space limited, although I probably could remove that and put a better one in. I really do wish I had one because there's stuff I could do. For instance, angle milling, one of the reasons why I don't angle mill is because you really need a Bridgeport because you have to reface that intake face. And that's not, I don't trust that enough to do it. It would be off too much. So yeah, anyway, but you still need one. So that's the biggest pieces of equipment you need. Those, like a Bridgeport, you could probably find those used, but you're gonna need a phase converter if you're in most places where you only got like single phase. But if you got 3-phase, you probably could find used ones that are decent, probably around 5 grand or so. New ones, I think they're like 15 or something. But anyway, there's the machines you would need. Hopefully that answers your question. Sorry I went a little long on that, but I told you I would. That's the equipment you need. I'm sure I'll leave enough other stuff. Obviously, if you're doing cylinder head porting, you need flow benches. So I have 2 because I'm an idiot. I have the Sine Sigil 680 and the Superflow 750. Really, they kind of confirm each other. Sorry for the mess. Like I said, this morning I got up just to put the engine in the car. But yeah, you're gonna need those, and then you're gonna need all these adapters, which, god dang, they're raping me on these. These plates are now, when I bought them, they were like $360. I think they're like $500 now. And that bore sleeve, it used to be like $180. I think they're $300. It's stupid money now for those. Anyway, hopefully that answers your question. If you have a question, you can email it to me, and we'll pick which one to talk about. But that was an easy one, so thank you for that. Hopefully you got something out of it. And anyway, yeah, there's the projects going on. Dyno next week. Video on Monday is going to be about the 468. If you want to buy those results, you know what to do. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Remember, I don't port cast iron heads. I'm no Superman. Let me explain what that means. That means I am not a god at stuff. I don't pretend to be one. I tell you information. And I think a lot of what I say is not necessarily the gospel, and it should never be taken that way. You need to do your own research and do your own stuff. That's what I mean when I'm Superman. When I make mistakes, I'm not a god. But I'll say this. There are a lot of people who claim to be. And that should be a red flag, by the way. If you ever have someone that says, I'm the best or I've done more than anybody else, they're lying. Because you don't know what anybody else has done. You just don't. So anyway, once again, thank you for everything. You guys, oh yeah, Bishop swimming went well. But you guys take care.